Okay, here's the story. I getting prepared for Hurricane Hilary, and so I went to Walmart and I bought a 16 by 30 tarp, heavy duty, 10 mils. It's kind of heavy duty. It's not great though. It's not like 20 mils. I don't even know what a mil is, but the bigger the number, the thicker it is. Anyway, so I was thinking, well, I better not miff this. I better lay it out first and see what I have to do to get it up on the carport roof. And then I realized I wouldn't really be able to just throw it all over to the this roof. It's like 8.5 feet high. So I laid it out and then I tied it together on sections with several ropes. And I tossed the ropes over the carport roof, and that was the hardest part, was getting the tarp to clear the edge of the roof while I was pulling on the other side. And so I realized I'd have to finagle. It's just about finagling, really. I mean, it's just some plastic from China covering some other plastic from China. And I mean, the carport that I have, I got for free. I just had to disassemble it from some guy's backyard. He was replacing it, or I don't know, he was moving out, I don't know. But it only took me a couple of hours, and he helped a little bit, but not much. But that was a long time ago. So I've had this thing that's worth like over close to $1,000. If I had to buy all the materials myself and put it together, I would have spent at least probably close to 1,000. But those panels are really expensive now. But the ones I got from him were used, and so they're kind of leaky. And that's kind of been driving me nuts, because otherwise it's the perfect solution for being able to do stuff. If it gets wet, if it's raining, whatever. I put tarps on the sides of the carport to block the wind and to block the sun. And it was doing great, but every now and then there would be a storm and you could see the tarp would start ripping. And that was just that wasn't the tarp, that was the material that came with the free carport. I threw that up there too. It's like a sunblock, sure. But over time, it's been about 3 years, that material just rips to shreds from the wind and the rain. And that's just the occasional. In San Diego, it hardly ever rains or is stormy at all. Just like once or twice a year maybe. So I know I needed to replace those because they look hideous. But it's a matter of having something to prevent the winds that I know are going to come. I mean, they said gusts up to 70 miles an hour. And I don't really want to try to run across the street and pick out pieces of my carport roof from somebody's car window, or who knows what the wind could do to those things. And earlier I had a couple of ropes strung lengthwise to make sure those carport tiles, they're long tiles, the width of the carport, but they're only about a couple of feet across. But I went and crisscrossed the rope so that it would have a constant pressure on these tiles. I keep calling them tiles. They're roof what is the technical name? Roof slats. Anyway, So I've never had any real problems with those coming loose. I mean, a little bit from, like, there's this tree right next to the carport, and it's got these leaves. Apparently it's called a eucalyptus willow. And these leaves are just getting everywhere. That's the main reason I got the carport in the first place. It's because those leaves were getting right into the engine bay and down into the little cracks and things of my car. Oh, son of a bitch. What happened? Anyway, boy, my whole computer went wacko for a second there. But it was driving me nuts. I was gonna put a cover over my entire minivan, but those were expensive. And so I was really considering just building my own carport. But then I was looking at Craigslist, and out of the blue, this guy's like, "This is free to anybody who comes and takes it down." And I went there and I had minimal tools. I had a screw gun, and I lucked out and I found the right bit that had the correct socket for the types of screws that were being used. But he also had tools that he offered me, so that was really cool of him. But yeah, I did most of the work myself in his backyard, and I think I used his ladder. I had brought a ladder, but I used his ladder. And yeah, it took me a couple of hours, and it really has been great, except for the idea that those slats might just go flying at some point. So I just made the decision to go ahead, and I went to Walmart and I bought this tarp. It was $62 for a 16 by 30. And I finally was able to finagle it. It really is just getting up there with the ropes at first, and then pushing it up, and then kind of evening it out and pulling and pushing and prodding. And then I wanted to make sure that it was a little bit windier than it is now. This is Saturday morning that I put it on, and the wind has died down. It's Saturday night now. There's almost no wind right now. But it's nice and even after it took me about an hour and a half. And hopefully I've got enough tie down ropes that it's going to be secure enough not to get picked up by these 70-mile-an-hour winds. I don't really have an idea of just how strong that is, but I imagine that it's probably going to take a beating. I guess I'll have to keep an eye on it. But that's about it. Hopefully Hilary will be nice to me, and my carport